Let me give you some tools on how to improve your feeling for tempo. Play barré because it's a reliable way to find both notes in tempo. If we change with the tip of the finger from one string to the next, many things can go wrong. It doesn't help if you tell your colleagues later on, I practiced well, but I got nervous. Be twice safe. Also here. Why is this fingering good? Because later we play the same theme in B flat minor. Of course, this fingering is also okay, but I feel nervous after the open string. Sometimes I miss the C. Though, if it works for you, go for it, no problem. I've seen other sophisticated fingerings. Look at this. And now the first finger. Or give them all a try and then choose by your own. Practicing the bow arm alone. Be aware we play 2 notes on the A string. And not if you use my fingering. Later, practice the forte part connected with vibrato. Especially the second notes in the slur. I hear it all the time, and it happened to me. They don't sound properly. They don't get enough bow. Ba 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 da da ya bum ba 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 ya bum. Make sure this note does not vanish. The bow shouldn't look like a symmetrical twinkle little star. Half the bow for the short notes and the whole bow for the long note. Well, it's okay to start like this, but this music, more advanced, brings us to a new land with new rules. We practice the bow arm alone this way. A bit exaggerated, but you got it. Make sure you read the text properly, because in auditions, we don't have only bass players to defend you and say playing double bass is difficult. The oboist will say, at the end of the first phrase, I see poco ritardando on the C. What does he or she play ritardando before? Da 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 pa will be wrong, because we need a ritardando just between C and G, and a tiny one, poco ritardando. The same, the next phrase. Just a tiny bit, and not I hear it all the time. We continue talking about a precise reading of the text. On bar 38, we see an sforzato, but the last time, bar 44, we have forte diminuendo, no sforzando. It should sound a bit like this. No bite or accent anymore. And we play a fast diminuendo because bar 45 is already in pianissimo. Let me give you some tricks on how to play in tune and in tempo the next bars. We practice connected. We practice loud. We start on the G string making the shift. And while we're making the shift, we put the first finger on the D string. Got it? It's not like this. And then we find the E. It's not like this either. We find first the finger on the D string, and then we move. So while the shift's happening, we change the arm weight from one finger to the next. And you will feel safe because you don't lose contact to the string. If it helps, try to anticipate your finger on the second string, but just touching it. If you have a look on the books by Ludwig Streicher, number 1 and 2, Vorliegen is lay your finger on the string with anticipation and do not press down with anticipation. Because pressing down the first finger on the D string is one action consuming energy. And we should reduce any sort of tension and actions demanding energy. Too high. Do not correct your mistake. Do not fix it here and now. Remember, it was too high, and next time we try it a bit lower. This is practicing. Why? If you happen to make a mistake, and I didn't make this mistake on purpose, it just happened, you shouldn't teach your fingers to correct your mistakes. You have to teach them to find the note on the spot just right. And correcting up and down is not what you want to do on stage or behind the curtain. Any motion you repeat will be incorporated in your muscle memory. Bad practicing is as effective incorporating mistakes as practicing well. Going to the trio, you shouldn't lose tempo. It's common to listen to recordings, especially in the middle or second half of the 20th century, being quite slow. Well, if the conductor says so, you go for it. But as long as you're playing an audition, you should try to keep the same tempo as in the scherzo. It's not easy. I make this mistake and sometimes I lose tempo, but try to stay more or less in tempo. For me, it helps thinking scherzo should be relaxed fast, not too fast, and the trio should be a tiny bit faster than what's comfortable, because the tendency is losing tempo on the 8 notes. I have an exercise for you to improve your tempo. Play slurs. Let's get started with 3. And why not 5? Oops, I don't know anymore if I'm wrong or right. Tricky as hell. If you get the feeling your brain is melting, you're in a good way towards automatization of the left hand, because the bow should not just follow the left hand, it should be independent. And also the left hand. Try to make your practicing as different as possible from the original piece. So practicing the trio first slower and then faster is the less economic way to spend your time. Well, of course, it's one way of practicing slower, but you will get better results. You will make a smarter investment if you practice different than what you see. Going to bar 158, we try to make an accent on the low G twice, but not the last time. Please, never. Of course, we don't want to play like this. For my people out there in Austria and Vienna, nicht abreißen, nicht rupfen, anständig spielen. That means in angry Viennese fake imitation, do not break your sound. Be gentle with your sound. In bar 197, my recommendation is make your dynamic visible and easy to listen to. We start playing forte close to the bounce point, but not closer to the frog. Here, more or less. We play therefore the up bow at the middle of the bow, and now sweet spot. Now more towards the tip, and we stay farther away from the sweet spot, and even more. We don't want the bow to jump crazy and too slow, so less bow hair is the trick. We will compensate the bow jumping too much. playing pianissimo, you should think of a constant diminuendo. This is probably the only way to play a real pianissimo, because the nature of the bass player is to go towards the middle of a dynamic. So mezzo piano and mezzo forte is comfortable. We should be reminded by one voice in our heads, please quieta, stay quiet, play even diminuendo. It's the only way to come across with a real pianissimo. Many thanks for listening, and see you next time.